Well, I am the student media advisor here at Lee University, and I got to this job. I'm also a professor here, and I got to this job by providence, I would say. I was a student at Regent University in their PhD program, and I started working as an adjunct professor teaching a bunch of their journalism courses. And I did fairly well there and actually had a professor recommend me for a couple jobs, and so I had some interviews. And then I went to a conference and met with Dean Melton. And Dean Melton heard that I was interviewing and said, "We really need a media advisor. You should apply with us too." And so I ended up taking this job rather than actually two others. So it was a real blessing. I wanted to be at a Christian university, and so that was a big part of the reason why I came here rather than somewhere else. There kind of is no completely typical day. Usually I come into the office at about 8:30, and then I will work on my classes is the primary thing that I do. But in terms of media management, being here in the office, I often have editors come in and ask me questions, and I will end up reviewing some of what they do, and also dealing with I'll end up dealing with the financial side of things that have to do with the media also. So the media management side of the job sort of comes in and out of my day as I'm working on the professorial side of my job. Stress. There can be plenty of it, and I won't say that I necessarily organize it or plan for it well. Basically, I try to have an attitude that allows for stress to not impact me quite so much. I try to sort of have a loose hold on life and let it flow as it will. I moved here from Virginia Beach, and so in surfers terms, you just try to ride the wave and let what's going to come at you, and if you and let it be. So that's sort of my way of dealing with stress, is to try to not let it get to me too much, don't take anything personally, and just go with the flow, sort of let things go where they're going to go. Because when you get too controlling, that's when the stress ends up eating you up. Something that in that I was more coming into a professor's position in my mind. It's a good thing and a bad thing that I'm managing 17 editors. There's a lot of management that is involved, and a lot of interpersonal things can come up, and I sort of I feel like God prepared me in ways that I didn't realize I was being prepared, in that and the students here aren't like youth, but I was a youth pastor for 6 years prior to becoming a PhD student, and so I sort of ended up managing students, like way more students than this even, and dealing with those kinds of interpersonal issues, and so they've ended up helping me in this regard. But it surprised me how much interpersonal, I won't say necessarily conflicts, but interpersonal issues play into management. That's a large part of what you're doing, is dealing with people. Well, there's two routes to becoming a manager in a media setting. One is to go the business route and to become a manager. And so becoming a manager management skills is an entire skill set. You can go and get your MBA and all that kind of thing, and that's one route. Usually, though, media managers do have some sort of experience in the media industry, and so the one good step, there's, like I said, two routes, and the other route is to work your way up through a media organization into management. And so basically, if you're already in a media program, you just get involved and work your way up the ladder. It sounds simple, but that's it. And I think actually getting some knowledge about management and management practices can be really valuable. My best experience, I really love taking the students to my editors, I should say, for media management, my editors to something like New York City, where we get to really see the industry in its entirety and get a real feel for that. But also, some of the best experiences have been some of the projects that the students have worked on. I've really enjoyed the pregnancy article. I think was a real pinnacle piece, and it took a lot of work and a lot of engagement with not just the students, but also the administration. And so just when you have something that's that big that comes together well, it can be really enjoyable. The worsts are the interpersonal stuff. Just when you have different problems with people that work for you, and it may be the youth pastor in me. I end up loving them all. I think that I'm so happy to work with everybody, but you still have to deal with those issues. So. Well, media, right now, actually, I wish I could look up some statistics for you, but people are consuming more media than they ever have before. And so getting involved in media right now is actually, it's a great time to be involved in media. You just have to be willing to not tie yourself to one transmission tool or the other. There's sort of two routes you can go for this too. You can start to master a bunch of tools and sort of make yourself a media pro on several different levels, or you can get really specific these days. So if you want to become, a medical photographer or something like that, and do photography for medical magazines, then you can get that specific, and that may give you an edge on other people. But I think that for most people, the best way to get into the industry is just to become that generalist.